What up, y'all? It's Mike.
It's Rowena.
Let's talk about the biggest news of the day everywhere. This happened, 2 days ago?
Sunday night.
Sunday night, United Airlines from Chicago to Louisville, Kentucky. Basically, the flight was full. Everyone was seated. And then they came on, they said we needed 4 seats for our crew members. And they were, giving people reimbursements up to like $1,000, and no one took it because it was no more flights for the day. And no one took it, no one wanted to take it, and then they randomly
algorithmically chose 4 passengers, which happened to be 2 couples.
Right, and one of them, the Asian doctor, told them that he had to go see patients in a hospital the next morning. He couldn't get there the next day, and then they decided to remove him forcefully, and ended up with him getting all bloodied, and this was all caught on tape, and this has been the biggest news so far. And it's still growing. This is not over yet, because so many things has been happening ever since that video was released. First of all, the outcry from everybody. Yeah. I mean, everybody is hating on United with good reason.
People on the plane.
Yes.
Passengers taking video footages, and then everyone on social media.
Yeah, there's so many aspects of this story. We'll try to cover it all. Right away, United released a statement that sounded like so calloused and, what was that, completely insensitive. They basically apologized.
They tweeted a series. Yeah. Flight 3411 from Chicago to Louisville was overbooked. After our team looked for volunteers, one customer refused to leave the aircraft voluntarily, and law enforcement was asked to come to the gate. We apologize for the overbooked situation. Further details on the removed customer should be directed to authorities. To be fair, a lot of flights, every single flight overbooks.
Yes.
But it's rare that something like this ever happens. And if you saw the footage of how they removed the man, they were like pulling him, and his face hit the armrest and started bleeding, and he went unconscious.
Yeah. There are some of those who are defending the policy of United. Look, I'm not sitting here and saying they weren't within their rights legally to remove a passenger. Yeah. I mean, airlines can do basically whatever they want nowadays, right? But in the circumstance, but you still have to have some sort of common sense, right? You remember how, like, I said Pepsi should have a VP of common sense?
Yeah.
United should have a VP of common sense in this situation. Gave him a call, and the guy would be like, yeah, you leave the people alone. Yeah. Because here's the situation, when you kind of just dissect it a little bit, it's stupid. Okay? The plane is full. Everybody is seated. They're ready to go. It's not like you're at the counter and they're like, sorry, Mr. Chen, we can't let you on the plane because it's full. I'm not going to be happy, but what am I going to do? Okay? Here, everyone is situated. They're ready to go. Then all of a sudden you have 4 crew members come and be like, we need seats. Why? Because United wanted to save some money. Because if they weren't in designated city, then maybe they miss a flight or miss some assignment. Then I don't know how it all works. So these guys needed seats. After everyone is seated, ready to go, in everyone's mind, they're already planning, like, when I get off, I'm gonna go, I'm meeting
do that.
I'm ready to do this. And no
doctor, tomorrow I need to see patients.
No one in their head ever for 1 second thought, okay, what if I don't get on this plane? Like, when you're buying your ticket, when you're choosing your seat, sometimes they're like, do you want to volunteer, blah, blah, blah. And I'll say no, but then in the back of my head, I'm like, man, they might just like switch me at the last minute. Yeah. But never would I ever think that would happen when I'm sitting down. So then they ask people, hey, we'll give you $1,000 to move. But here's the thing. It's not like you're delaying people's flights for 3 hours, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours. Okay, I get that. All right, I'll do it. Here, you want to give me $1,000 to delay me for 3 hours? I'll take that deal. But to delay me for 1 night, that's a huge difference. Yeah, you're paying for the hotel. You really care about your stinky airport Sheraton hotel? Like, and you want to delay me for 1 night? That's a huge, huge difference. And people got stuff to do the next day. I can be delayed, on a particular day maybe, but not the next day. That's asking a lot. So then no one gets off. And then you think the best thing to do at that point is force people by lottery to get kicked off a plane? For your crew members who literally, why don't you make them a little inconvenient? Why don't you make yourselves a little more inconvenient rather than inconveniencing people who are already sitting down with the mindset of, I'm gonna go home. That's what they choose to do.
The horrible customer service.
No, this is beyond horrible customer service. This is like Con Air. I would be redunculously agitated. It's not even about being removed. It's about the way they did it. Here's $1,000. Anybody want to get off? No, because we don't want to stay in Chicago another night. All right, then somebody we're gonna kick off. No reimbursements this time.
And I think another thing with this whole fiasco, there's so much gray zone that you don't know what happened. So the guy was first pulled out of his seat and dragged out of the plane. 10 minutes later, apparently he came back, bloody. His shirt was kind of messy, so maybe he was beat up. And he was seen repeating, I have to go home, I have to go home, I have to go home. And then all the crew members left. When they came back, everyone saw this guy being pulled out in a stretcher.
Yeah.
So
He's
a lot of
saying,
things happened between all this time that no one really knows about.
He was also extremely disoriented. He's also mumbling, kill me now, kill me now. Like he's like, okay, this is a Chinese thing. It's a Chinese thing. He's a Chinese gentleman. It's weird, but sometimes they do mumble things like that. Yeah. And then I think for United, it just keeps getting worse because the CEO gets involved, right? And he's apologizing for this overbooking. He's not apologizing to what happened with the person. And
so this is what he said. I apologize for having to reaccommodate these customers. Our team is moving with a sense of urgency to work with the authorities and conduct our own detailed reviews of what happened.
Right. Basically,
so if this was reaccommodation, then I wonder what forceful removement is.
Also, he shifted all the blame to the security personnel. He's like, ask them what happened. That's not our problem. Okay, that's not your problem. It happened on your plane. I think it's your problem.
And then in the internal email.
Internal email, he praised his staff for going above and beyond. Really? Really? Yo, that guy almost died. That dude was bleeding. This is an older gentleman. He's like 60 something. He could have died. He could have died. And then even after all the backlash, people going against United on Twitter, everything, you have the gulls to send an internal memo to your staff saying, good job, everybody?
So what he said in the internal email was, so he did call the passenger, quote, disruptive and belligerent, and claiming that employees have, quote, followed established procedures.
That's established procedures. You know, if the dragging doesn't work, let's just club them over the head or something. And then let's touch upon this because we were the first one to notice, but people were like, well, he's Chinese. Did that have something to do with it? I just feel like Asians, like we get picked on a lot. And I want to bring up one more point. Would this even be a bigger story if he was a black person?
Totally. Or even a white person.
Yeah.
If this happened to a white person, guys.
Well, I'm just saying, I think it would be a bigger story if it was a black person because especially like if everybody else was white, like I think this would be a huge race story. But this is not being touted as a race story right now at all. But I think if this was a black person, maybe a Hispanic person, this would be a bigger race story.
One of the security guards was black.
Yes.
And he was the one that's seen forcefully pulling the man out. Yeah. So I think even if it was, you know, a black officer with a black person, they probably would have had more respect towards each other in the situation too, where it wouldn't have led to this forceful removal.
You're thinking maybe because the person is Chinese, they treated him even worse.
Potentially.
Okay. Asians have the perceived, I guess, image or stereotype that we're easier to be picked on.
Shy,
we're easier to be picked on.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this algorithm was like, you know, it could be completely random. I don't know.
The algorithm is computers, so I don't think they would know.
So, but we
still don't know exactly what happened.
It was something that was brought up by some people. That was he targeted because he's Asian? I personally,
maybe he wasn't targeted because he was Asian, but the way that everything unfolded, the fact that he was Asian probably contributed to the way that he was treated.
Right.
So I don't think United was like, you're Asian,
not the
you're
computer.
getting off the phone.
You're talking about more on the security side.
Yeah, just like the people
side.
dealing with people side.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I do really agree with that.
There's just more respect.
Yeah.
You know, amongst humans of the same race. The way that the airplane personnel explained the situation to the passengers too was 4 of our staff needs to get on board. So until more people get off the plane, we're not going to go anywhere.
I'm saying that's the kind of attitude.
Like that.
You go on a U.S. domestic, they treat you like literally like, all right, it's a privilege for you to fly with us, and we can do whatever we want to you. We'll turn the plane around. I was flying a JetBlue flight, and I was flying a red-eye flight to New York. I was vlogging the whole time, but I didn't really vlog this. And I was sitting in their extra leg section, whatever, in the first row. So I was right by the flight attendants. And the whole flight, I kid you not, the flight attendant was like, yeah, this passenger, he's so fat. Like, they literally said stuff like this. This person is so annoying. Oh my God. And they're so loud. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, is this?
You know we can hear you,
is this
right?
real? I'm like, I'm listening to you right now, dude. And like, this is not the first time I've experienced this. It's just the customer service at domestic US airlines are just the most deplorable. Like, I hate flying it. It's like, yeah, here's a bag of peanuts and you should be grateful. I mean, it's just the worst customer service, and they feel like they could treat customers any way they want. And this is not the case if you fly a Korean Air. If you like Singapore, they're like, here's a bag of peanuts and a full meal, and we're gonna be the nicest people to you ever because we want you to enjoy your experience. For some reason, U.S. domestic airlines, they are like the opposite of that. And this is not the first time United kicked someone off. Just a couple weeks ago, they kicked little girls off.
2 girls were denied because they're wearing leggings. I mean, that I understand a little more because they were flying. I think that story might have gone blown out of proportion.
Because they were flying on a crew kind of situation.
They're flying for free. So if you're gonna fly for free, if you get anything for free, the least you can do is follow procedures or follow the rules that they have, and it's not.
But it's leggings. It's little girls. What are they gonna do? Read through
But they're flying on behalf of the company, so they're pretty much representatives of the company, you know?
Yeah, but like, come on, like when they get on the plane, are anyone ever gonna be like, yeah, you guys are representing United? Like, I feel
I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you let these people off, then you're just basically creating an excuse for everyone else in the future.
Okay, well, this is what I feel like it's a similar situation now. United went letter to letter based on their policies with those girls, and now they went letter to letter based on policies with this gentleman.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. They are lacking common sense.
Yeah.
Each situation really calls for somebody, the VP of common sense, to be on and be like, maybe we shouldn't do that.
I think the fact that these girls weren't allowed on the plane and the fact that this man was asked to get off the plane, it's normal. Like, it happens all the time.
Right.
But it's the way that United personnel dealt with these situations.
Right.
Probably the way they talked to them, the way they treated these customers, where the individuals felt that they're so unfair, or onlookers felt that it was unfair, that it blew out.
Let me ask you, did this situation, did these instances impact your decision to fly United Airlines?
I'm never gonna fly on the airplane, like never again. Yeah.
I'm never gonna fly on there. I agree with you. I would never fly United again. And I feel like in the back of my head, I don't want to fly on an airline that I could sit down in my seat, buckle my seatbelt, be ready to go, and get kicked off.
Poof, you're off.
I'll never fly airline. I mean, I'm sure all the other airlines could potentially do that to you, but I will never fly on this airline. $500 to fly across the country, and then you're sitting down, and then people are like, "Yeah,
they're like picking you up like The Sims, dragging you down." If I saw all of this going on, all of this fuss, I'd just be like, I volunteer myself as tribute. Like, take me.
I volunteered before. I got $600.
Yeah, I mean 800, 1,000.
But here's the thing: it wasn't an overnight thing. I would never do an overnight volunteer.
I mean, I would if I didn't have anything important the next day. Yeah, totally.
I got delayed for like 3 hours for $600. I'm okay with that.
We'll include some petitions down below for you guys to sign. If they get more than 100,000 signatures, the White House will review this case.
Yeah, the thing that disgusts me most about this is how the CEO, I just want to touch that upon again, how he's dealing with the situation. It's almost like he's sitting there going, yeah, whatever. And that's what kind of like just gets me so mad at this company. People make mistakes.
Yeah.
But I hate it when they don't own up to it and they don't feel like they did anything wrong. And this guy, the whole time, he's still saying, it was just following procedure. My God, let's boycott you out of the air. Like, seriously. Also, biggest winner of this whole situation, Pepsi. Like, seriously. Pepsi's literally, the head of Pepsi PR is going on vacation today. He's going on vacation today. He's like, yo, I didn't have to do a single thing. No one is talking about Pepsi anymore. Like, I mean, no one. There was like Pepsi's just like the happiest people ever. But, you know, they could have made the situation better by giving, like, the security guard a Pepsi. I could have just, you know, solved everything. Let us know your thoughts about this crazy, crazy story. Thanks for watching.